Good morning, class. Today we're going to be talking about a very rare disorder. It is called Angelman syndrome. And since I know that we have a lot of PowerPoints and stuff to get to today, and since I'm not there and I can't really interact as much as I would like with the class, I decided that we should just watch a little video that's going to basically explain everything that we need to know about this disease or disorder.
Today's topic is Angelman syndrome. Angelman syndrome is a genetic disorder. It causes developmental disabilities, neurological problems, and sometimes seizures. People with Angelman syndrome often smile and laugh frequently and have happy, excitable personalities. Developmental delays between about 6 and 12 months of age are usually the first signs of Angelman syndrome. Seizures often begin between the ages of 2 and 3 years old. Causes. Angelman syndrome is a genetic disorder. It's usually caused by problems with a gene located on chromosome 15, called the ubiquitin protein ligase E3A, or UBE3A gene, a missing or defective gene. You receive your pairs of genes from your parents, one copy from your mother, the maternal copy, and the other from your father, the paternal copy. Your cells typically use information from both copies, but in a small number of genes, only one copy is active. Normally, only the maternal copy of the UBE3A gene is active in the brain. Most cases of Angelman syndrome occur when part of the maternal copy is missing or damaged. In a few cases, Angelman syndrome is caused when two paternal copies of the gene are inherited instead of one from each parent. Signs and symptoms. Infants with Angelman syndrome appear normal at birth, but often have feeding problems in the first months of life and exhibit noticeable developmental delays by 6 to 12 months. Seizures often begin between 2 and 3 years of age. Speech impairment is pronounced with little to no use of words. Individuals with this syndrome often display the following that can have severe functional deficits: hyperactivity, small head size, sleep disorders, movement and balance disorders. Children with Angelman syndrome typically have a happy, excitable demeanor with frequent smiling, laughter, and hand flapping movements. In addition to hyperactivity, a short attention span and a fascination with water are common. With age, people with Angelman syndrome become less excitable, and the sleeping problems tend to improve. However, affected individuals continue to have intellectual disability, severe speech impairment, and seizures throughout their lives. Adults with Angelman syndrome have distinctive facial features that may be described as coarse. Other common features include unusually fair skin with light-colored hair and an abnormal side-to-side curvature of the spine, also known as scoliosis. The life expectancy of people with this condition appears to be nearly normal. Diagnosis. A definitive diagnosis can almost always be made through a blood test. This genetic testing can identify abnormalities in your child's chromosomes that indicate Angelman syndrome. A combination of genetic tests can reveal the chromosome defects related to Angelman syndrome. These tests may review parental DNA pattern. This test, known as a DNA methylation test, screens for 3 of the 4 known genetic abnormalities that cause Angelman syndrome. Missing chromosomes. A chromosomal microarray, or CMA, can show if portions of chromosomes are missing. Gene mutation. Rarely, Angelman syndrome may occur when a person's maternal copy of the UBE3A gene is active but mutated. If results from a DNA methylation test are normal, your child's doctor may order a UBE3A gene sequencing test to look for a maternal mutation. Treatment. There's no cure for Angelman syndrome. Research is focusing on targeting specific genes for treatment. Current treatment focuses on managing medical and developmental developmental issues. Depending on your child's signs and symptoms, treatment for Angelman syndrome may involve anti-seizure medication to control seizures, physical therapy to help with walking and movement problems, communication therapy, which may include sign language and picture communication, behavior therapy to help overcome hyperactivity and a short attention span, and to aid development. Thank you for watching our video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Also, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our latest videos.
All right. So just in case the video went too fast and excuse me, and you all weren't able to write down everything quick enough or as much as you would like, I'm going to do a quick recap over what the video was talked about. So basically, Angelman disease is a genetic disorder that causes developmental delays, neurological problems, and sometimes seizures, and it majority of the times attacks the nervous system. Some signs and symptoms are feeding problems at birth or within the first couple of months of the baby being alive, developmental delays, and you will start to see these around the age of 6 to 12 months. And you all know we just did that long developmental notebook, so we all should know what those developmental stages are around that time that the baby will be missing. So like the crawling, the babbling, and the stuff like that. Difficulty with balance. Very happy, excitable personalities, as like the video said, they're very hyperactive. And then seizures can start occurring at the ages between 2 and 3. And of course, they will be dealing with speech and seizures for the rest of their life. This is like one of the symptoms that is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Okay. The diagnosis. So the first way is the blood test, how they talked about in the video. Another way is the DNA methylation test, and this is basically to just to basically see if your parents have this gene, or either parent have it, or if they both have it, or whatever. And then the last one is a gene sequencing test, and this test is basically a further test from like the DNA methylation test. So if it comes back positive, or if they need further testing done, they will send them to get a gene sequencing test. So for the treatment, there's no cure. Of course, we already know that. They said that in the video. The only thing we can really do is manage the symptoms. And so that's more like with developmental delays and stuff like that. If the child has bad seizures, or even when you become an adult and you're on seizure medication, they can take the anti-seizure medication. They will also need communication therapy, like I said in the video, which is going to help with either sign language or picture therapy for those who have severe communication problems and they can't speak. And then behavior therapy, of course, to help work on those outbursts and like those hyperactivity behaviors that they have. They just have a lot of energy within them. So this behavior therapy is going to help them like help regulate their emotions. And then PT, of course, to help with the walking. So, some functional limitations. These are some of the obvious functional limitations that you might see with a client with Angelman's disease. Syndrome, I'm sorry. Their ADLs will be affected, of course, because they already have severe delay in self-care skills. So they will have problems with the dressing, the bathing, the cooking, all of that. They will probably eventually get it down packed, but it's going to take a while because they're developing slow. So they won't be able to catch on right away, or basically they're just going to need assistance with all of these until they're able to develop the independence to complete these on their own. Sleep and rest, like you said in the video, majority of the time the child has sleeping problems, and then it goes away as they get older. I wonder what actually causes the sleeping problems. See, what I was thinking was maybe because they're so hyperactive, maybe they just have a problem like winding down enough to like actually sleep and like have their body remain calm for a long period of time to remain asleep. I'm guessing that's what I got from it, because I mean, I don't know what other way would be a problem for sleeping, but that will be affected. Education could be affected by the behavior problems and the communication problems. So with the behavior problems, the child or the person is usually very hyper overactive, like I already said, and they have a short attention span. And I also was reading up on sometimes they do a lot of biting and they do a lot of screaming. So as you know, this kind of behavior isn't going to be appropriate in a classroom setting. So this, of course, is going to cause a big distraction. So that could be affecting their education. And then, of course, with the communication. So if they have a severe speech problem if they have a severe speech problem and they can't communicate how they need to in order to communicate with their teacher or, to get their point across with their homework or whatever, that's going to affect their education. And then play and leisure. I was thinking about the children with the motor and the fine and gross motor problem. Sorry. They're not going to be able to have fun at recess. They're not going to be able to play on the monkey bars, and they might not be able to walk them down the stairs to get to the slide and stuff like that because they have poor motor planning and they have problems with walking with that gross motor. So that's going to affect their ability to play. And then the same thing with after school sports and clubs and stuff. They might not be able to do the same thing that the other kids do because, for one, the gross motor skills are going to be off. And then for the after school clubs and stuff, then they might have too many behavior problems or their communication. They just can't communicate effectively enough to be able to be a part of a club. And then for the performance skills, of course, like I've already mentioned, the gross and fine motor skills are going to be affected. So we know the walking and the being able to writing skills, stuff like that, all that's going to be affected because of their jerky movements and their poor motor planning skills. And then processing skills, as the video said, they're going to have intellectual disability. So that's just going to be a thing. And then also social interaction. So I know you're probably wondering why I didn't have social participation on the occupation side, but I have social interaction on the performance side. And this is because they would not have a problem with socially participating in things because, as the video said, we all know that they're bubbly, they're very friendly, they're happy, they're overexcited, they're filled with energy, so they wouldn't have troubles at all participating in a social setting and stuff like that. Or maybe they might because of their behavior issues, but as far as being able to communicate or to be able to socialize in a setting, they won't have a problem with that, but they will have a problem with their interaction. So, and this is because of their speech problems and their behavior problems. So they won't have a problem participating. They can be in a room being happy and being lovable and being just so excited, participating in a setting, but their interaction within that setting will be affected because they won't be able to effectively communicate how they feel, or maybe their behaviors are taking a toll on their overall self, So that's basically the difference between that. So I hope you all understood that. Okay, so, and how we can help this. So our OT intervention. So basically, of course, we all know that we can help with the fine and gross motor skills. So that's basically for fine motor, we can be working on all three pinching grips and grasping skills because they're going to need that for writing in school and stuff like that. And so an activity you can use with working on fine motor grasping skills could be just crumbling a piece of paper up in the hand. So that's working on their grasp, and that could be if you have them start to manipulate the piece of paper, the crumbled up piece of paper in between fingers, that can be working on fine motor skills as well. And then of course with the motor planning, the biggest thing that they'll be working on with the gross motor skills is walking, and we don't do that, so that we leave it up to PT to handle, but we can work on their motor planning skills with those gross motor movements. Another way we can help is medication management, and this is like for those who have to take those anti-seizure medications. We can basically making sure we're educating them on staying on top of their medication, letting them know how important it is to take their medication and stuff like that to keep their seizures regulated. And then we can also help with balance, and some activities like we can do with balance where it could be like reaching across the midline or doing any of the exercises or any of the treatment sessions standing up. And while we're working on something, we could be shifting weights from like left and the right leg, making them shift their weight back and forth, helping them work on their balance. And then you can also do activities on your knees, which helps on balance a lot. It's helping build their core muscles and stuff like that. And then lastly, their self-care skills. So like I said before, since they're going to have those developmental delays, they're going to be struggling with all these self-care skills. So of course we can teach them on all of the type of assistive devices and technologies that we use. So like say for like dressing and bathing and stuff. We can teach them, we can educate them on like the sock and the pants aid, and we can educate them on getting a shower chair so they can, sit down and take a shower. And like for anything for cooking or eating, we can show them all those built up tools we have, and like all these non-stick appliances, and just all the different type of assistive devices and technologies that we have out there. We can just educate them on all of this in order to help them increase their independence with their self-care and with their independence with all of these basically that they're struggling with. So that is it. These are my references. I hope you all enjoyed it and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.